In this video, we are going to be talking about how to find off-market commercial real estate deals. Okay, so everybody knows it is best to buy off-market and sell on-market. So if you are an investor or a broker, you are looking for deals, this is the best way to find the opportunities that are ready to transact. So who am I? My name is Augie Schmidt, and I'm a commercial real estate entrepreneur and founder of REC. Our software helps commercial brokers and investors do more deals to make a bigger impact on their market and better support the ones they love. In my commercial real estate career, I've done about $500 million of transactions, and about 100 million of those came from off-market deals. So I'm going to show you exactly how I would find off-market commercial opportunities that are ready to transact in this video. But first, before we get into that, what makes properties likely to transact? One of the things is going to be debt coming soon. Okay, so we know there's a variety of different factors. There's debt, death, divorce, taxes, equity, age. There's all these factors that you can input and say, hey, what properties in commercial real estate are going through some of these filters? And that is going to create a higher likelihood to transact. But in this video today, we're going to be focusing on debt maturing. So I'll dig into the map and show you exactly what it looks like. So this is our software called REC, and you can use ours, you can use somebody else's, but what we like to do is we like to click into a state first. We go and find a geography that we're going to go after. So you click into a state, then you can click into a county. We'll see Melbourne, Florida here, and this is a beach town, kind of quiet, but most people will start out with a geography. They will go by location, and then they'll usually draw a polygon. Okay, so even though we have this entire county, maybe I don't want to go after all of it. I want to search really just along the coast and along I-95. I know I-95 major interstate is a hot market. A lot of this over here is residential, so I want to stick to commercial properties. So I'll draw a polygon like so, and then it will start to load the number of properties. So immediately we can see that we have 88,168 properties. That is a lot to go through. Those are not all commercial properties, and all those are not ready to transact. Okay, so I don't know how you do outbound to 88,000 or why, but we're not going to today. So once you find the location that you're going to go after, then you're going to put on the filters of the properties that you're looking for. Okay, so you click into filters here, and then you can see the state, county. Maybe you want to specify by a city instead, but then most folks, they will go to the property types. So in this example, there's a lot of property types and subtypes, but we will just focus in on the main four food groups of retail, office, multifamily, and industrial. Okay, so once you have that, you can then set further parameters of what the properties that you're looking for. So you can go by year built, you can go by square footage. So for this example, say, hey, we only want to do deals that are $1 million and north. So we can comfortably say that maybe 10,000 square feet is a $1 million deal and up. And yes, it's 88,000 properties, but we want to find the properties in this market that are at least $1 million and north, so we know that it's worth spending our time on them. Okay, so once you apply this filter, you will see that we have 1,014 properties. That's still a lot. Okay, and so you can click into any one of these properties and you can see more information about it. So it looks like this is a large retail building. You can also click in the street view and see the street view of the property. So you can click into each one of these properties. 1,000 is still a pretty big number, and these are just commercial properties in this area. I wouldn't exactly consider these warm leads. Okay, so you can see all the data about the property here, owner information, sale data, mortgage data, permit data, etc. But what we are looking for in this instance is going to be properties that are likely to transact in the next 12 to 24 months, because that's who we truly want to go after. We want to go after the warmest leads in the off-market sector. Okay, so you can go back to your filters, and then you'll see your retail, office, multifamily, industrials checked, 10,000 square feet and up. But then if you go down here, you can insert sale dates and then mortgage data as well. And we even have this nifty little button down here where you can see mortgages coming due in the next 24 months. Okay, so you can select 6, 12, or 24 months. 6 months, I don't want to say it's going to be too late. They need to do something really quick, but 24 months is a good time horizon. Say, hey, who has debt that is coming due that needs to pay off their loan, that needs to refinance within the next 2 years? It was 1,000 properties total, and once we apply this filter, we'll see how many we get. So we have 28, okay? So not a very large number of properties, but it's a great number of properties to go after if you want to be really intentional about it, okay? So now we have filtered down, and we have seen from 80,000 properties to 1,000 in the commercial sector that we are looking for in this polygon, and debt coming due in the next 20 or 24 months, it is going to be 28 properties, all right? So we know that these 28 properties have debt coming due, and they need to do something about it. So what do we do now? So after that, we are going to plan the outreach, and that's what I'm going to talk about now. So once you have these 28 properties, then it's going to go to how do we build relationships with these people? How do we get in touch with them and get their attention, set a meeting, and see if they're likely to transact? So once you have these properties, you can save a list. You do that here, and you might say Melbourne 24 months. All right. So you will save this list. And then after that, you will go to property list to get all of these in a list view and then begin the outbound. So when we're talking about outbound, we want to talk about what is likely to get in touch with property owners. So we like to use a strategy at REC called sequencing. And what does sequencing mean? So sequencing is when you can look at properties and you can say, hey, these are the properties I want to put into a list. How do I look at them and how do I contact them in a sequence? Okay, so almost everybody today is just cold calling property owners off of spreadsheets. But what we've built at REC, and you can use some other software or just do it manually if you'd like, but is the ability to sequence your outbound. And why does this matter? Because if your competition, if other people are just cold calling through spreadsheets, how do you do better? Okay, so we take a multi-angled approach and we have a consistent follow-up. Okay, so the multi-angle, we have direct mailer, mass email, mass text message, and then also power dialing. Okay, so this is 4 different angles while your competition is usually just going through one. And then when you sequence this outbound, you are doing it consistently. So I've fallen into the trap many times in my commercial real estate career that if I call a property owner, they don't answer, and then I just let them fall by the wayside. Okay, I don't follow up, I get busy doing deals, and then you never talk to that property owner again. However, with sequences, you can set this up where you might want to establish a direct mailer that goes out, and maybe then an email, maybe then if you have consent or check your privacy and consent laws, a text message, and then you can potentially call them as well. So whatever the cadence looks like in the sequence, say, hey, day 1, day 10, day 30, day 50, you can set up sequences to consistently do outreach to property owners from a variety of different angles. And we've seen a very, very, very high connection rate with this and success rate with our users at REC. So for the sake of the example today, I'm going to be talking about power dialing through this list. All right, so we will go back here into our property list, and once we have all of these properties, then we are going to want to find the decision makers behind these properties, okay? And you can do this manually. It's very labor intensive and takes a very long time, or you can use a software like ours or somebody else to do this for you, okay? So you will click all of the properties here. You will click Rufus the REC AI dog to go fetch the contact information, and once you click that, the decision maker information, phone numbers and emails will start to auto-populate in the system, as you can see here. So once you have the decision makers, phone numbers and emails, now you can launch the outbound. And as we talked about first, we are going to be going through the power dialer. So what does that look like and why use a power dialer? Okay, so you have all of these folks that now you know that they're in Palm Bay, Melbourne, Florida, and they have these commercial properties, and there is debt coming due within the next 24 months. Okay, so sometimes we like to play a longer play when it comes to prospecting and it's relationship building, etc. But if they have debt coming due, then they need to do something pretty quickly. So you can be a massive blessing to these people. They could be waiting on your call. I know a lot of times we can think that when we're doing outbound and outreach that we're pestering people or just looking to find a deal or whatever it may be. But I've always liked to keep in mind that some of these people are ready, willing, and able to transact, and it would be a massive blessing to get out from this debt that is looming over their head. And for these folks, we know that it's coming due in the next 24 months. So that's the severity of the situation, and also just knowing that going in, then you can kind of plan your calling framework and say, hey, what am I going to say to these commercial property owners? What's going to be my play? But I would entice them to first stay on the phone with you, so a strong intro, a strong hook, but then also try to clarify the situation, what's going on, and what's their plan with the property and with the debt coming due. Okay, so once you have your call framework, you know what to say, how to say it, etc., then you can initiate the outbound. As I said before, we like to do sequencing in a variety variety of different outbound features from multiple angles to increase the connection rates. But for this example, we're just going to power dial. So how does a power dialer work and why would you use it? Is because, so when you manually prospect, it is going to take a significant amount of time. Okay. So you are looking at a spreadsheet, you are punching in phone numbers on your cell phone, you get a call, you get a text from your wife, and it might be an ESPN notification or social media. Everything is demanding your attention as a professional. And so when you have a system like this, you can put a headset on and this is just going to run through dials. Okay. So you have a list of, this is only 25 properties, but if you had 250 or 2,500, you need to get through efficiently and very quickly. So putting on a headset, having a power dialer where it's going to call one after the other is a great way for you to put in a large number of dials and drastically increase your chances for getting in contact with property owners. So once you contact these property owners and you start to build a relationship with them, I highly recommend putting a deal in your pipeline once you set a meeting. My goal is always to set a meeting. I love to do this face-to-face. If you're calling from a different geography, that might be a little bit harder, but getting face-to-face with somebody, shaking their hand, looking them in the eyes, that means a lot to people these days, especially when there's so much communication going around in so many different angles. Okay, so meeting with somebody at their property means a great deal. I always shoot for that, and you can take this deal from the power dialer, you can move it right into the pipeline in Rec, or you can use it on your Excel spreadsheet. Just make sure you keep track of the people that are willing and able to transact and build that relationship with them in a more deep sense to see if you can find a way to make a deal work. So in conclusion, I would highly recommend selecting a geography first, then drawing a polygon, selecting the property type and the filters that you are going after, and then selecting 6, 12, 18, 24 months of debt coming due. Okay, so the shorter that time frame is, the hotter the lead is, and the sooner that they need to do something, and you can step in and help these people out. Okay, so whether you're using Rec or whether you're using an Excel spreadsheet, whatever it may be, we hope and pray that this video, you found value from it and that it can better help you support your family, make a bigger impact on your market, and better serve the people around you. So I appreciate you watching. You can grab a link below if you want to try Rec. You can use the code YT10 for 10% off for life, but if not, that's okay too. We just appreciate you watching. We hope to see you next time. Peace.